Let's start then with just sitting for a few moments without any sort of movement or anything, just settling in, finding a comfortable position where you feel supported, maybe able to just take a couple of slow, gentle breaths. Just get this feeling of arriving, the weight of your body on the chair. Letting your thoughts sort of follow that downward movement. Just rubbing your hands together and the pads of your fingers, tapping lightly over your face. And then going up over your head and neck. And shoulder, your arm, feeling the vibration of the muscles as you strike them. To the other side, shoulder and your arm. And then the upper part of your chest. And down to your belly. And finally your legs. But coming back to just focusing on your sitting posture, trying to be a little bit more clear and precise about how you're sitting this time. If you can be forwards in your chair so that you can get this feeling of your weight going into your feet, that's good, but just be careful not to strain your back. Have your feet directly below your knees. And you can just tilt slightly forwards. See, I've gone from here to here. Bring my head above the space that's defined by my feet and my hips. Letting my weight drop down in to that space. Just a general feeling of your upper body almost kind of flowing downwards into your hips, into the chair and into that space. Feeling how your legs continue to support you. The back supporting the front of your upper body. Perhaps even this internal awareness of how the skeleton and the surrounding tissue continue to support you from within. But even if you do sit back times, try still to have a little bit of weight in your feet if you can do so without straining in your back. Trying to keep this feeling as we go through the different movements. Starting very simply, as always, turning your head gently. Not pushing hard for any of the movements. So as you reach the fullness of the movement, if you like to think of it like that, point where you start to feel resistance to the movement, just moving in the other direction. So just looking for a flowing, smooth quality, whatever part of your body you actually detect the movement. And then hands in front of your shoulders, circling your elbows back. And going forwards. Hands come down to your sides, out a little bit. Rotating your arms from your shoulders. Doing the movement all the way down through your arms and into your fingers. And then winding. And back the other way. Rest your hands. Now, just letting your pelvis rock forwards, so your head and shoulders come forwards a little bit, and then push it back. So your weight transferring from a point where it's mostly back in your hips, a lot more in your legs. But not just thinking of the actual weight transfer, but those very brief moments in between where there's a sense of settling into your feet, into your hips. And with that settling, just aware of when you're forwards, feeling compression in your legs, which then starts to expand quite naturally. And when you come back and sink into your hips with the compression in lower back and hips, and then that expands. So giving ourselves that little moment to settle also initiates the return movement. And this idea that we give ourselves time to complete a movement, and in doing so, find the beginning of the next movement, really, or the next stage of the movement, really is a feature we look for all the way through these practices. It encourages fully completing the movement, a better awareness of what's happening within the movement. It encourages a sort of quietening of our attention, not rushing ahead. This time, sit back and you turn a little, and in turning, you redirect the majority of your weight into one leg. You might find it easier to just feel that sense of compression and release when you're focusing just on one side of the body. And then in the other direction. And and rolling your pelvis around, feeling the movement between your feet and your hips, and how that just draws your head and shoulders around in a nice smooth surf. And then changing direction, um, and then step out, 1 foot forwards, put the heel down, lower the ball of your foot, gently press in, ground, and planting the foot. And this time, having planted the foot, tilt forward so your weight goes in. Obviously, the foot gets more pushed into the ground. And try the same thing on the other side. You may find that you're sort of more aware of what's happening in one foot than another. This is not unusual to sort of have this better sense of what's happening on one side of your body than another. And then follow it up with the weight. Again, not rushing, really feeling that you'll feel your weight in your foot and then back in your hip. And then alternating from side to side. So paying attention to that little connection as you switch from one side to another. The weight moving a little bit, your body turning, upper body turning a little. One more time. And bring it back. So let your hands drop down. Turn your hands forwards. Ease forwards again, just letting your arms hang from your shoulders, but rotating them as you make your way. Bird folds its wings. It's feeling now the movement. There's one fluid, continuous connection from your feet, hips, up through your back, down into your arms and your hands. And between hips and shoulders, just aware of patterns of expansion and contraction in different parts of your body, particularly chest and upper back. These are all things that draw our attention more deeply into our body, make us aware of the sort of underlying dynamic, underlying energy. And then coming back, leaving your hands facing back, and this time just letting your arms swing a little bit from your shoulders. So as you settle into your feet, your hands get pushed forwards. As you settle into your hips, they get pushed back. By this flow, by this momentum that builds up, and they'll gently swing from the shoulders. It's fisherman casting it. Try not to stiffen up in your arms, the shoulder, elbow, wrists, joints of your fingers. Have a slightly rounded quality to it. This time, rather than your arms swinging back, just maintain that position. And as you come up, let that draw your arms over. So there's a ball underneath your arms, just rolling the ball in. Try not to strain in your arms or your shoulders, and just feel this rising, expanding movement coming from that gentle push upwards, your legs expanding through your belly, solar plexus, your chest. As you come up, turn your hands palm in and just let that expansion push your elbows out a little bit, coming forwards, chest contracting, drawing your arms in. Pigeon spreads its wings. When you go back, your hands don't go behind your body. So you see both my elbows and my hands stay slightly in front of my shoulders. As soon as I pull my elbows back, I'm going to start straining, tightening in my chest and my upper back. And what we really want to feel here is this lovely sense of an expansion right up through the body. Maybe finding with this one that it's just a natural synchronization, harmony with your breathing. The pigeon spreads its wings. One more time. And then push and wave the next movement. Your hands actually stay in front of your hips, but your elbows go out. So more subtle, but that same sense of expansion and then contraction. And again, your hands, your arms being pushed away from your body, just gently swinging up. Trying to get the press through the palms of your hands as you go forward, fingers opening a little bit, but not straining, not stiffening up in joints. Remember that rounded quality. One more time. And coming back, bringing your hands down a little bit, just above your legs, rolling your fingers into a hollow fist, and going forwards. This time, your hands stay at the same height. So rather than letting them swing up quite naturally, there's a slight downwards intention here, as though you're just pushing your hands out over the surface of some water. And the intention is to just gently push your hands down into the water. Your elbows will straighten a little bit, but not fully. Still that slightly rounding quality. All these movements so far, they're driven by that forward and backwards transfer of the weight. Opening your fingers, turning your hands out. Winding back, bringing your hands in, and then again, press forwards. This time we're going to combine this movement with the step in that we did earlier. So sitting back, turning a little bit towards one foot, extend the leg, plant the foot, press forwards. Coming back, bringing that foot in, moving across to the other side, and extend, plant, transfer back. It's important to make sure that you're still very much aware of what's happening in your feet and your legs. You give yourself once again that time to really plant the foot before you move the weight. It's very easy to sort of overlook that. Keeping that sense of a connection downwards, a sense of groundedness. One more on each side. And then bring the foot in. Turning your hands palm down, turning. This movement we did earlier, rolling the weight forwards, rotating. This time using it to draw your arms around and then back, polishing the table. And then in the other direction. Nice and smooth, nice and flowing. One more time. And then turning your hands palm up. Now, trying to get the feeling of the movement rather than alternating between your feet and your hips. Coming up from both at the same time, almost like you're going to stand up, a gentle push downwards through your feet, through your hips, and just using that push up to push up through your upper body, pushing your arms up, turning them over, and then contracting down. So the downward movement produces the upwards movement, hence the name, rooting down. When we contract, we want to get a feeling of our center of gravity dropping towards the ground. When we expand, it's like we grow out of that. It's called rooting down. Like a plant growing out of its root. You feel a sense of a gentle expansion and contraction up and down through your back and spine. One more time. Looking down, rotating your arms out, feeling that same sense of a rising energy from the ground. Some of your arms being pushed out sideways. And again, they just smoothly swing up. This is the wild goose. Just spreading your fingers out a little bit. Trying not to stiffen up in the joints of shoulders or arms, hands. This time ease forwards a little bit so your hands can come onto your knees. sit back. Again, that pressure downwards, giving rise to the upward movement. Pushing your arms out this time. So you're just painting a circle in the air in front of you. This is parting the clouds. Expanding through belly, solar plexus and chest again. And then contracting. Yeah. Not going forwards, just letting your arms drop down to your sides, feeling the weight of your arms hanging from the shoulders, and then expanding on one side. Your elbow being pushed up, drawing your fingers up, and then coming up a little bit higher, winding your arm around. Yeah. And then change to the other side. Dragon plucks the stars. In between the two sides, so just a moment where your attention rests in your center. Again, one more on each side. And then bringing your hands around again as though they're just cradling the ball. Just again, pushing up, this time letting your hands go a little bit higher. They rotate so the palms of your hands end up resting upwards and then rotating, spiraling back down, resting on your hips, center, and then again pushing outwards, this time still with that rotation and back. Nice steady rhythm in the movement, expanding from the center of your body and then contracting back into it. Taking a moment just to let the inside of your arm lightly touch the side of your hips. Recognizing that as you get that expansion in that area of your belly, your center, although we're choosing a particular direction with the arms and hands, expansion is in all directions. So see if you can just feel that little bit of extra pressure down through your hips and your feet as you push out. This is very much a feature of Tai Chi. There is always what we sometimes refer to as a counter movement. And sooner or later, that counter movement ends up going down into the ground. So we keep that sense of the root, keep the feeling of being very grounded, even as we're extending. This time, as you push out, again, there's a turn, a rotation in the center. Seeing how that directs your arms, directions, coming back, turning the other way, feeling the movement up, around your spine, into your shoulders, and out into your arms and hands, and then facing forwards. This is pushing in 4 directions. Recognizing the multiple significances that exist in our center. It's that center part of the body that is making the connection downwards. It's in some ways you could say it's the center of the movement, the center of the expansion and contraction. It guides the direction of the movement, particularly in our arms. Traditionally described, one of the descriptions is that it's like the hub of a wheel. When the hub of the wheel turns, the whole wheel follows. So it becomes a really important point of focus for us, a place where we gather our attention. It also represents that quality of the stillness within the movement. Now, extend one foot, just rest on the heel, turning your hands, arms up, tilting, but keeping your weight back mostly. Scooping the sea, sit back, let your hips drop back, expanding in the front of your body, looking at the sky. Very gently, especially aware of your back, don't go too far. And this time, again, roll your fingers into a hollow, a loose fist, going forward, your head going upwards this time. Drawing your arms over, grasping the tiger's ears. Good, and then changing sides. Scooping the sea, looking at the sky. And then grasping the tiger's ears. And sit back. Okay, so just preparing to stand. Start by rubbing your hands together and then tapping over your face. And over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder. And your arm. On the other side. And on to the other part of your chest. Light on your belly. And then and just to get muscles in your legs working again, pushing your heels up. And then circling around, feeling the movement back into your hips. Change direction. Okay, so standing. I'm going to move my chair out the way, but it can be quite interesting to keep the chair there. You sometimes use it for a little bit of support. One of the things that we're trying to get, and this is something that probably comes more easily in the chair, but a sense of being able to take a particular posture to, for instance, to stand or to sit upright and to move without straining, without stiffening. So this is where the very integrated nature of the postures that we take becomes really important. Obviously, our legs, as we stand, are going to carry much of the effort of supporting our body. Also, our backs support the front of our body, as we found in the chair, and we have that support from the skeleton within, and the whole network of muscle and tendon and ligament, maybe even the fascia and the bones and so on and so forth, all part of the same whole rather than separate, rather than particular fragmented parts of the body. So standing with your feet directly below your hips and the weight just a little bit forwards, just come a little bit closer. And I'm going to exaggerate this. What I want to do is bring my weight a little bit forwards and then just allow my hips to settle back. So it's almost like I sort of sat on a wall or on the edge of a table or something like that. Just letting your pelvis tuck under to keep your weight working down through your legs. And then letting your hips drop a little bit more and pushing it up. So here we can feel something that was very subtle in the chair, which is that dropping of our center of gravity, and then particularly in the legs, that sense of an expansion, pushing us up, and then just allowing gravity to pull our hips down. Try and let that movement settle into a nice steady rhythm. Bring your hands around as though you're cradling the ball. So the standing version of the exercise we did earlier, rooting down, let your hips sink, shoulders drop, your hands pressing the ball down. Now turn your hands out, change into the wild goose. And down, and at the bottom of the movement, let your hands drop, change into heart in the clouds. So the same action in hips and legs, the center of your body, giving rise to these three different movements, and just aware of the subtly changing patterns of expansion and contraction, of the flow of the energy in the upper part of your body. Take your time as you change from one movement to another. So we experience that little sense of just settling in between each stage of each movement. One more round. Now keep the width of your step. Take a shorter step forward, about the same as the width. And again, transferring your weight. This time, of course, the weight transfers from one foot to another. Same as before, though, giving yourself a moment to settle and to feel the pushback. And then settle down in your back foot, raising the front toes, and go forwards, push the back knee in. So a little bit more of your weight flows down through your supporting leg. And then bring your foot in, and as in the chair, push out, put your heel down, lower the ball of your foot, press in gently, move the weight. And when you do the backward step, it's the ball of your foot that goes down first, then your heel. Good. And then on the other side, transferring your weight. Try not to stiffen up in your hips or your knees. Raising your toes and your heel. And stepping and then taking a few steps through, so forwards or backwards, depending on where you have the space. And then going back. Okay. So now, moving my movement, stand with your right foot forwards. Start with your weight in your back foot and the standing version of fisherman cast net. So you push your weight forwards, and as you arrive in the front foot, the momentum, the energy pushes your hands forwards. You go back, and as you arrive, your arms get pushed back. Gently swinging from your shoulders. Going forwards, and again, using the center of the body to change the direction of the arms. This is wind blows the willows. And expanding, contracting as you transfer the weight, settling into the front foot and feeling that push up and the expansion. So you're not actually straightening your legs here. It's the same as in the chair, feeling that compression and that sort of rise in energy that comes as a result of that. Okay, good. Shake out. Same on the other side. So starting with fisherman cast and net. Really making sure that you don't lose touch with what's happening in your feet and your legs. Don't get distracted by the movements in your upper body and your arms. And then going forward, settling in and turning, wind blows the willows. Now combining this with the step in, turn the front foot out, you're going to go forwards, but you can do this going backwards, turning, bringing the other foot in, stepping out and planting. This is called dragonfly skims the water. And maybe if it's comfortable for you, not just bringing the foot in, but raising up. If you find that you get a bit wobbly and sort of all over the place with that, then just leave the foot down. And then changing direction if you haven't done so already. And then bring in your feet back. Lovely. Going back to your chair. So coming to your sitting position again. Forwards in your chair if that's comfortable for you. Letting your hands drop down to your sides. And then pushing your arms out. Embrace tiger, return to the mountain. Bringing them around as though you're holding the ball against your chest. Feeling your hips sinking into the chair, your shoulders dropping. Drawing your hands inwards and then down. Once again, that feeling of just settling. After a moment there, just pushing out again. This time, just letting your hands come down and rest on your legs. A couple of slow, gentle breaths. Lovely. Thank you as always. And as always, please do get in touch if you have any questions or comments. But bye for now.